As a media designer, my job is to come up with solutions to a variety of problems, whether it is about communicating an idea through a brand, feeling emotions through an experience, or simplifying a process through a new interaction. Although the problems I face span a wide range of topics, the method I use to find a solution always follows the same structure. First, I define the issue and its context. With that, I come up with one or several potential concepts. I then prototype these ideas and test them to see how well they meet the requirements of the project. Taking into account the results, I then start over. I essentially refine my concepts, prototype them once more, test them once more, and so on and so forth. I repeat this cycle until I reach a satisfactory design that meets the initial requirements. Now, some time ago, designers used more traditional tools such as pen and paper to express their ideas. And then came the personal computer, and with it, a digital pen and paper. But with the amount of computing power at our fingertips today, couldn't one take better advantage and help designers and go further than simply simulating pre-existing tools? I believe we can. Interestingly enough, the 3 steps of the design process are very similar to another process discovered in 1859 by a certain Charles Darwin. Indeed, biological evolution is actually comprised of the same steps under slightly different names: variation, selection, and inheritance. And with the repetition of these steps over millions of years, the most complex, performant, and flexible systems have arisen. Now, we are often inspired from the results of evolution in design. Mimicking the wings of birds, the patterns of fur, or the fins of fish has led to great design over the years. But wouldn't it be possible to draw inspiration from the process itself and see how it can be applied to new contexts that do not exist in nature? In my case, as a media designer, couldn't it be used to evolve a brand, a typeface, or a sound? So, at the intersection of my passion for science, programming, and design, I decided to begin an adventure. Propelled by the power of modern computers, I wish to create a tool capable of augmenting the designer in the creative process. Inspired by biological evolution, the method considers all creative content as virtual organisms that can adapt to the purpose they must fill and what the designer wants. Essentially, the designer is evolving and sculpting the idea before him. Now, such an idea has already found success in engineering. But in trying to apply it to my field of work, I quickly ran into one unavoidable issue. You see, in engineering, it is possible to figure out which design is better than another based on certain criteria. Engines can be set up against each other to see which is faster, propellers to see which are more efficient. However, in media design, I am not looking to define the faster typeface or the more cost-effective sound. Instead, I am searching for the better design quality based on my personal preference and aesthetics and intuition. Now, it is currently impossible for a machine to define such a judgment. So, let me show you how I've handled this problem so far. In this method that I now call evolution-assisted design, or EAD, the first step, with the help of programmers, is to create a modular design for a logotype, a typeface, a sound, or a physical object. I can then extract certain parameters and use the tool to make them evolve. The computer will then start generating hundreds, even thousands of options, but the computer will not be able to bring the correct and better designs to me. So right now, I, as a designer, have to cycle through the generated designs and mark them as interesting or not. I do not need to mark all of the generated options, however. With even just a small selection, the computer will readjust, take into account my choices, and redirect the course of evolution. After several generations, the computer starts producing more and more desirable options until finally, I have the solution that meets my problem. Then I can export it and have it produced. And here are some results in typography, physical objects, and sound. Now, such an approach has allowed me to engage in much bigger projects than I would have been able to by myself, also in a much shorter time span. And by shifting my role from an executioner to a watchful designer of sorts, I've been able to fully focus on the correct progression of the project as a whole. In dreaming further, the method could also be brought into other fields. Instead of typography or sound, how about politics? Imagine this for a moment. What if each law of our society was an evolving entity? What if each and every one of us could judge these laws and propose new ones? The whole complex system would evolve, adapt, and fine-tune itself to propose novel and more educated solutions to the problems we face today. And with the rise of artificial intelligence, the views on our future are divided. Some say that designers will become obsolete. But rather than adopt a dystopian belief where all life becomes redundant, I favor a more utopian ideal. Yes, it is critical today to rethink the role of the designer, but not to replace him. Rather, let's make the tools an active component of the design process that can inspire new ideas. Let's look into finding better ways of combining the powers of each side, namely the conscience, perception, and decision-making of man with the uncompromising precision and speed of modern machines. I believe evolution-assisted design is full of promises. With this approach, designers are no longer simple executioners of passive tools, but guides catering to the healthy evolution of their creative universe. And in bringing programmers, designers, and artists together to work on evolving projects, we will allow for the creation of more durable, personalized, and unique designs for our future. Thank you very much.